Hey, Parlay Pete, sorry for starting late. I had a conference call. Then I was doing some homework. Then I was being a bad husband because I just like hadn't talked to my wife all day. And I was like, I should go talk to my wife because she's not smiling. Let me see what's wrong. You haven't talked to me all day. You're right. I'm going to leave my phone in the office so I don't look at my text messages or keep looking to see if Pierce has texted or called me. And I'm going to talk to you because you matter. You're important. And I'm not going to do a great show if me and the wife are beefing. So, late start, but what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. And to quote Wood Harris in Above the Rim, or actually to quote Tupac Shakur in Above the Rim, to Wood Harris, Motar, handle your business. So I understand, man. Hell, I think I was the cause of the delay last week.
I think it was 2 weeks ago, but who cares,
Well,
right?
and as you know, with that, we're not gonna talk exclusively about it, but obviously, I think I sent you guys the screenshot, so we got that deal done. So I'm real.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
That's good shit.
Yeah, I'm very fucking happy about it. Like, really happy.
And I'll tell you, that's the one nice thing about having a co-host who has a kid and is an adult. When we got adult stuff going on, it's not awesome, bruh. You late? It's like, yeah, nah, like I'm grown.
Yeah.
Like, I remember a good friend, won't say his name, was writing a TV show sophomore year of college, and he got it greenlit for them to record at Clark in their studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as he's putting the team together, he fires off a text message at like 2, 3 in the morning. Um, and you know, bro, you know how it's like creative, like you have an idea, so you want to like shoot it out. It wakes me up, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like thinking I'm late for PT in the morning. I'm like, oh, I gotta go run, work out. And it's
Right.
like, hey man, we're having this meeting at this time, this time, this time. I see him the next day. It's like, hey, bro, don't text me after midnight. And be quite honest, I don't want you to text me before noon. Text me between noon and midnight, wide open. Before or after, uh-uh. And he was like, nah, bro, see, you ain't as passionate about the work. You we can't have you as the main part of the team. Like you can be support staff, but you can't be on the creative team because I got to be able to reach my team whenever I need to. At 20 years old, fair enough. Yeah, I get why you feel that way. I wish a motherfucker would think they could need to contact me at 3 a.m. and I'm supposed to respond. Now,
Right.
are you crazy? I don't even need my phone buzzing at 3 a.m. because texting you at 3.
There's that aspect of it too.
It's the group text. I thought the group text was silence. It is.
More,
Now I'm in hot water.
well, more importantly, outside of the one person now that lives on the West Coast, well, two, I guess, because JP, but I mean, everybody else is probably asleep at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Or if certainly, even if they're not asleep, they're trying to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not talk to me hours.
yeah. Maybe they're fucking something. I don't know, but like, just depends. Where they're at, what's going on, all this other stuff. Like, I don't know, but
Hey, this is our last Women's History Month podcast, and it's one of our last for me in this room.
mm-hmm.
Closing tomorrow. Not for sure when we'll have the full setup going at the house. Obviously, got to get the internet set up and shit first. But here's what I want to talk about briefly about women's history. In the last 2 months or so, I've had a few conversations with a few different women, and all of them have talked to me about their anxiety and how they suffer from it and how they're getting treated for it. 10 years ago, I didn't know what anxiety was. When Genuine saying, I'm so anxious. I didn't really know what he was talking about. And I know whatever he was ain't what these women are going through, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
he just trying to get some ass. And they're like really in like fight or flight mode, like what's like I'm in my head, what's going on with me. But I kind of want to just take some time to think about, why do you think it's a bigger thing? Is it because we know what it is and we've put a name to it and we've put treatment behind, and there's probably some big pharma dollars behind it? Or has Me Too and calling out the terrible behavior by men and others and the predatory behavior of the patriarchy that's existed now being called out as wrong, and the feelings that come along with learning that certain behavior that you received is wrong? Like, I don't know. It just seems like a lot more people, men and women, but specifically women, are suffering from it. And I don't know why.
I think that a lot, I mean, of course, the older that we get, I feel like we learn more. And it's not just learning more about the world, like, in our environments and everything around us, but we do learn more about ourselves because we're getting introduced to, there's more things. There's more, typically the older you get, the more responsibility that continues to come on. Like, think about it. You're closing on a house tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, these are different things. Like, these are different, we're getting introduced to a different part of our lives, and I know, obviously, like, I'm sure you may have heard of this too, and obviously you're already there. Shot, not really, but that, basically when you enter your 30s, you're basically still in your 20s, but with just more money.
Fucking right.
So, and then I guess, for the most part, which of course there's some people that get
Are you
married.
not 30 yet?
No, I'll be 30 this year, but I'm not 30 yet. I am outside of Dale and obviously Justice just because they're younger. Out of everybody in my class, I'm the youngest. I'll be the last one to turn 30.
And no one's turned 30. Has JP turned 30 yet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
JP turned 31.
Oh, JP's my age.
Yeah, he turned 31 this month.
Okay, bet.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. None of y'all have had a birthday yet. Julian will be the first one.
Yes, him, and then Josh follows like immediately behind.
Then Boink is in June.
Boink's in June, and then
Gambles is young as hell.
Matt just turned 30.
Okay.
Gambles is no. When is Gambles' birthday? Is it in October?
I don't know, but Gambles is young.
Maybe Gambles is younger than me.
Back to the women.
I feel like his birthday is October. Point being, I think that this more things, just like, anxiety, I think depression, I think all these things that are more psychological, right? Which they come with, the territory of realistic things too, but like it's a lot of it to me is mental.
It's one of those things where it's mental, but because it's in your head, it's real. Like, it's real to you. It may not be real outside of you. And for our mental health warriors out here, this is not, we're not knocking what someone's going through or their experience, but it's like a fear inside their head that does not exist outside, but because it exists in their head, they respond as if it is outside, so it's real.
Yeah, well, and then there are real life like things that are happening that are putting more pressure on it to where it creates an even bigger hole within the person. So I can't say, and maybe obviously because we're not women, we can't say exactly because we're not women. But just even looking at certain women, why I would think that maybe anxiety is such a big deal. I feel like there are a lot of factors in women's lives that they feel like they don't control, right? Like that could create more of that pressure of that anxiety coming up, whether that be having children. Like obviously, if they're having sex with a dude and he doesn't have a condom on, there's always a chance, right? But like they still don't really control if the nigga's going nut, like, or what, like, you know what I mean? Like they like that's something that they don't have any control over.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the workplace, it feels like as if they're not really in a position of where they're in power. So it's like a lot of stuff is determined by another man, typically, or some shit,
And
or
the sad thing,
possibly another woman, like, but like mainly another man.
yeah,
Um,
patriarchy.
Obviously, even within a house, certainly if it's like a mother or wife or um, even daughter of some, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's just a lot of external things that create that internal buildup and then when you don't, and then, a lot of people don't feel like they can talk to somebody. Like, a lot of people don't either. They don't know if they can trust somebody. Like, that person may be a trustworthy person or somebody that you can speak to that, like, there's so many different factors. And like, it's like you said earlier, it's not just women. Obviously, men go through it too. But I would think that maybe just from that women perspective, maybe because it seems like there's less things that are in their control. And then vice versa for men, it feels like everything is in their control. So if things aren't going right now, it's all on you. Like, this is your fault, like, type shit.
I'll tell you an interesting thing that Julian, interesting conversation Julie and I had, I think it was Sunday night. He called me about some stuff while we were watching women's basketball. It was maybe Monday, but one of those days. And I was like, man, look, women do a bad job of making friends, making and keeping friends. And
now, that's a fact, though. That's like that is much more factual that women are way worse at keeping friends and getting friends.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have the facts and stuff to back it up, but it goes back to I've seen it. I have a lot of women who are friends who have a very small friend circle. Like,
they hang out with one or two chicks, and then most of the time they're hanging out with dudes. And it doesn't mean that
with dudes
or nothing either, but they just prefer hanging around a dude. Like,
either they're hanging out with dudes or their dudes' friends' chicks. So they're not even their real friends. They're all just cool because our dudes are friends. We got to be around each other. Right. But we were talking about it, and the woman told me, she's like, I disagree, and I'm like, yeah, I know you disagree. Talking to you right now. Didn't say that to her, but that's what I thought. But I'm saying that to say that I've made friends everywhere I've lived. And from 2014, when I left Atlanta, I went back to Cartersville, to Virginia, to North Carolina, to to California, to Bahrain, to California, to Albany. All these places, I've made friends. And not even like friends who I talk to in depth or nothing, but I've made friends who I hang out with, and I've had a vulnerable moment at some point with all of them because, dog, you drink with somebody enough and go out enough, one of them days you're gonna be in your feelings, and you just gonna kind of just get to talking. And maybe because it goes back to the control piece that as men we are somewhat in control of so many things, and we shoot a shot at the woman that we want, right? Women rarely come up to us and like make advances at us. Typically we're like providers, like we're paying for the date, right? We're picking where we're going. Also, we don't walk outside thinking we're going to get raped and robbed.
That too.
So, and then our machismo is like, I wish somebody would try me. I would beat his ass. I shoot that mother. You know what I mean? Like, we feel like we're okay. Whereas women oftentimes feel like they're subject to being victims.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not calling women victims, calling women weak or nothing like that. Just saying, I think for one, society has done women a disservice by the amount of interdependency that they've said that they need from men. And even like in the correction to that, I think there's an overcorrection where it's like, I don't need a man to do anything. It's like, all right, well, You carry that 50-pound bag of dog food up them steps. You know what I mean? Like, you whoop his ass. Yeah, that 180-pound man right there, average size man, you whoop his ass.
You set up the fucking TV and do all this other shit.
Right. You change the
You
oil.
build it. You DIY your shit.
Right. But I'm getting that to say that, hey, gender roles have changed a lot, but there are separate gender roles for a reason. And I'm not telling you which gender role should be separate in your house because it's your house. Personally, I cook way more than my wife. I do most of the cooking. Like I whether I'm home or I'm working, like fucking cook. I love to cook. So I cook. That may be considered a woman's job. No. But
every grown man should be able to cook for themselves.
Man, every grown person should be able to cook for themselves.
Yeah, every person. Yeah, let me not say, but because the thought is women already know how. There are some women that don't know how to cook.
A lot of these new age women.
Where the general where it's fucked up. If you're a woman and don't know how to cook, that's a problem.
I agree. Like I thought about wearing a Spelman jersey again because it's Women's History Month, and there's a lot of women who came out them pearly gates who can't boil water.
That's what I'm saying. That's a problem when you don't know how to do certain shit. Like it's a problem if you're a man and if you catch a flat, you can't change your tire. Like there are certain things where it's like
gender aside, you should be able to change a tire.
I mean, I think women should, but like I would understand if a woman didn't know how to do it. But as a man, and I had to learn that the hard way when I was 18. If I could have just learned, if I didn't know how to change a tire at the time. If you're driving a car, you need to know how to change a tire.
And hook up jumper cables.
From that day forward, I learned how to do it. Like I learned how to do it on my own. Granted, I have AAA and shit. Like, so if I catch a fucking terrible flat or something, or
what if you catch 2 flats?
Well, or if I'm wearing some shit that I'm not trying to get dirty in because I was headed or something like that. Look, it don't bother me to call AAA to do it, but like at the same time, if you got a flat tire and your car is sitting at your house, change your fucking tire. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, it's a life skill, man.
I'm just saying with women for cooking. It's just weird if you don't know how to cook. Like,
they say let me stop because
women are less clean than men. Too. That's another thing, cleaning. But like, have you ever been
to clean?
How many women's bathrooms have you been in?
My wife keeps our bathroom pristine.
Okay. I'm just talking more about the sink area, probably more than anything. It'll be hair.
No, bro, no. Let me tell you what. I hit the jackpot because they talk about the passport boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a passport boy. I'm more like a green card boy. So, my wife was born here, but her parents weren't, right? They're naturalized citizens.
Mm-hmm.
From Latin America. Latin American women are very domestic, even if they have jobs and stuff. So there are a lot of like domestic things that are ingrained into my wife. Like, I never see hair in the sink. Occasionally I'll see some in the shower, but even when I see it in the shower, it is all of her hair in one big hairball that she like put together, and then she forgot to take it out and throw it away. So I can just grab it, pick it up, throw it away. Like, right. Honestly, I leave more hair lying around because you've known me for over 10 years now. I just started having hair.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm not used to what happens when I actually pick my hair out. Cause you got low cut, bro. You ain't no damn hair nowhere. Like, shit going.
Yeah.
And now I be having like hair flying everywhere. And she had to say to me, "Hey, bro, your hair's all over the fucking place. It's gross. Clean it up." So now I pick my hair out like in the shower when I deep condition it, and then like I get it all together, or I'll pick it out in here and let the Roomba pick it up. But either way, I keep it out of the bathroom communal area because man, anyways, let's close this up. I just wanted to take some time and talk about this because it's just, I think it's important. And I think that we need to do a better job as humans of making our society more comfortable for the people who live in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will also say the difference between flirting and sexual harassment is if he's cute.
Yeah, well, it happens, right?
It does happen. So don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to, son. If you don't get eights, don't flirt with no eight at work. Harassment. But hey, young lady, if he's flirting with you and you don't like it, you tell him. You give him a chance to stop. Cause he might be creeping and don't even know he ain't even a creep. He thinking you fucking with it.
Or just leave it at the simple. If the dude, like if he's complimenting you, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Then if he keeps going, just ignore it too. I mean, there's that too. Like,
Bro, you know every dude don't listen to being ignored.
yeah, but those are niggas that have problems. Like, they just got their own. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like when you're around somebody, you know, like they have a mental issue, right? Like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if they keep talking, like, I just keep ignoring. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope that it would never turn to something fatal. I don't even think I told you the story. We went to London. The first time I went to London, it's late at night, walking by. They have a Ferris wheel type thing there.
Great airport, by the way.
Yeah, I've been to both fucking Heathrow and Gatwick. But Heathrow is, I'm assuming, is the one you're talking about.
Talking about Heathrow, yeah.
Yeah. Very big airport too. I mean, it's huge. But
Sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to offend by doing this right here. I'm not throwing up your gang sign. You should be your frat sign.
Well, you could just pull Austin Rivers and do this. You know, I don't know, but which I guess we'll get to him shortly. But nonetheless, yeah. But got harassed by a dude that I clearly could tell had a mental issue. Like he had a mental issue. He was a black dude too, and he was homeless, but like, or appeared to be homeless, but clearly had a mental issue. Was almost trying to pick a fight with me because he was trying to say something to Couture, and like it was just
You're one of the least let me fight this guy type of people I've ever met in my life.
Well, because I don't think it has to come to that. I think there's only certain situations where issue. Typically, if it's gonna come to interesting, I'm getting a random call from somebody. No, it's just weird because
Do I know somebody?
No, I just met this person.
Oh,
but it's weird because our interaction was very short, but they're calling me. They're not even texting me. They're calling me. So nonetheless, what was that? Okay, yeah, no, because it doesn't have to get to that point. And to me, if it ever does get to that point, then you probably do need to kill the motherfucker. Like if it gets to really to that point, yeah, there are some times where putting your hands on each other can be appropriate. But for the most part, if it got to really get to that point, you probably got to kill. I mean, that's what this sounds like to me. If you got to get to getting physical, like. I'm not gonna let somebody just put their hands on me or just say anything to me. But like, if it has to get to the point at where, because now you're being aggressive, then that means you are not only initiating it, but you're being very aggressive about it too. At that point, I don't think you really should get to that point.
Well, I'm just even like your demeanor, like the way you handle shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen you pissed off before, but even your pissed off was not fighting pissed off. Like it was not I'm ready to fuck a nigga up pissed off. It's just I'm really pissed off.
It's just disappointment, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Like
it's just like, man, I can't believe this. Like,
because you know what I'm talking about. Like the last time I saw you like super pissed, and it was.
Oh, you're talking about this shit that I'm looking at right now that I still I still have to deal with that.
But the whole vibe of it was very much dad sitting down and talking to you like, son, I'm really disappointed in you. Like, why
Because
would
I
you
don't
do
understand, like somebody knew, bro. It was just like say something, like just say something. Like we're grown men, like for real. Like I'm not even mad it got broke. I'm mad that nobody said nothing. Like fuck it, getting broke. We all make mistakes. Like but to not say that'd be like me coming home when I was like I came home and my bottle of Louis was first of all the bottle was chipped, but then like half the liquor was gone out of it. And Couture told me basically because I had it on my like my little alcohol cart. I didn't expect Mariana to be able to just go over there and do that either. Like, because if she's being watched, it shouldn't get to that point, right? Like, she should never be that close to that. But I get it; it's kind of out in the open. But she told me honestly, like, yeah, like Mari got into it and it tipped over. And like, I wasn't gonna be mad at my daughter. That bottle, I will get another one. Like, like it's not worth it. But like, if she hadn't told me and just act like it was there, yeah, I would have been upset because it's just like. So you don't know what happened to it. So somebody else did this one other night, and I'm just now recognizing this. Like, you know what I mean? It's just more something like that. Like, it's obvious something happened. Like, speak up.
That's no fun.
Yeah, that's all that was, but for that specific situation.
But I was saying like you if you were to almost get into a fight or get into a fight and it's your fight, not you defending a friend or defending your brothers or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, there's some crazy shit going on.
Yeah.
Like cause I just feel like you're above fighting and not saying like in some emasculating way at all. It's just like this is stupid. We get nothing from this. Like, what are we getting from this? Like, 'cause, some dudes talk about, yeah, nah, dog, bro. Sometimes you just gotta fight your friends. No, you don't. If I gotta fight with my friend, we're not friends anymore. More than likely, like.
Now, and I don't condone it, but there's a story within our group. I won't even name the names, but two people in the I was about to say the office, the locker room, got into an altercation.
I got into an altercation with somebody in the locker room, and we're still good friends.
And I don't even know if it was necessarily an altercation because it seemed so one-sided. But he basically randomly got punched. And I don't even know. Huh?
Are you talking about the altercation I had in the locker room?
This happened in Pensacola between two
pilots. No. Oh, yes. So like, yeah.
So like,
wasn't that guy like in that guy's wedding still?
Yeah. So like, I don't know what it was though that got to get to that point to where that would even be a reaction, especially because it doesn't seem like the other person would do anything. I don't care how drunk he is to get to that point. Or on either side, even you being that drunk. But apparently that was kind of basically that he was blackout drunk. But I also don't know what he could have done to just want to like. Because think about it, it's one thing to push somebody too. It's another thing to cold cock somebody in the fucking face, bro. Like,
I punched somebody in the locker room, post college, and that person called me a bitch more than one time in that night.
Did this person live in San Diego at any point?
No, he was visiting San Diego, but he lives close.
But wasn't he living there too?
Not that time. He stayed there for an extended period of time, and you may have came and visited.
I just want to make sure. I figured this is who we were talking about. That's all I want.
Yeah, but it was. But we talked about it the next morning. I was just like, "Hey, man," I was like, "Bro, my bad. Like that ain't even how I get down. But like you can't talk. You just can't use that word. You can't call me that, dog. Like, hey, man, stop. Do it again, bro. For real, stop."
Right.
It's not at this point. It's not even a word. Now it's just, hey, I asked you not to do something because it makes me feel this way, and now you're continuing to do it. And you're my friend, so you're disregarding my feelings.
Right.
I know that sounds so sensitive, but it's like real. Like, hey, bro, can you respect my feelings?
Right.
Well,
you stop.
it goes to the conversation we had in the heated conversation in the locker room earlier this week, right? Once it got to a certain point, conversation's over because no one's trying to hurt anyone's feelings or cross the line. Niggas are trying to make a point, but there's a level of respect and love that we have for each other that no one's going to cross a line knowingly just to make a point for the sake of making a point.
Right.
And I'm happy that we're 30-ish years old and we operate that way.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be like you don't have to be that way. Like,
hey, can I take issue with one thing that you said though?
What was that?
When you said that you're not going to change anyone's mind.
I tell you what,
I didn't like that.
What I probably meant more by that was that I'm not here to change anyone's mind. Maybe I can, but like,
that's fair because, and let me tell you why I took issue with it. Because we have a lot of great conversations in that group. I mean, good conversation, bad conversation. I mean, your brother can sniff out a fake Instagram model page like no other and market to the real person. And I've never heard of any of these people a day in my life.
Me neither.
Like, and he does it so quick. Like he's great. So the conversation can go from political policy to sports to empty sack ENT to so many different things in like at the same time. And
these things that are going on, current events within one's life.
Right. And some of these conversations can be all going at the same time. But I participate in these conversations to learn, to become a better human being, right? Get different perspectives and get closer to right. So when you said like, I'm not going to change anybody's mind. It's like, no. New information needs to change people's minds. Like if we can't change each other's minds with factual information or situations, perspectives that one trusts, like if you told me, hey, we shouldn't go to this bar because they treat black people like shit. And I go, well, I like that bar. Look here. I'm in Atlanta all the time. I live here. They don't like niggas. Once you give me that new information, I should think about that bar differently. I'm not saying I'm just going to never go again.
Right.
But you've given me new information about a place that I thought that I liked.
Well, you can keep it in the back of your mind, or the next time you do go, maybe watch out for subliminal stuff being done, or, you know.
But yeah, I say all that to say that, locker room's a place for us to come together and learn. We call it the locker room, honestly, for nefarious reasons. But if you've ever actually been in the locker room, that's what the locker room is about. It's about talking, conversation, learning, and some of the wildest conversations with people who shouldn't even have those conversations. And there's growth because there was a conversation in there that we were having that I won't bring here. But it's a funny one. And it was centered around that stuff going on in Uganda. And and one belief set towards it and another's belief set in defense towards the outrage of what was going on. And, things are just ironic.
Right.
You want to talk about some sports?
Yeah, man. Let's talk about it.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
Yeah, I know it's opening day and the Braves beat the Nats. Yeah, big fucking whoop. But we're talking football because football is king. Arthur Blanks made headlines this week.
Yeah, this is his first time making headlines since
about this time last year when he was
the Deshaun Watson stuff, sure. But even I don't think, because there were multiple teams doing it, that it wasn't as bad. I've never seen a game in the Western Conference.
I got some audio.
Pull it up.
Arthur Smith said this morning that Desmond Ridder, last year's draft pick, is going to be your guy. Your thoughts on that?
Well, he's been he's picked in the third round last year, and he had a great career in college. He played in 50 games, won 44 out of 50, and played at a very high level, and probably one of the top all-time college winning quarterbacks. And all those reps and snaps and winning in big games is very important. I think since he's come on our campus, he's been a natural leader. He's worked hard. He's learned a lot under both coaching, and really, he worked very closely with Marcus Mariota last year and learned a lot from him. Continue to move forward throughout the year, and then an opportunity to play the last 4 games, start the last 4 games, and we saw a lot of progress in the last 4 games with Dez, and we think he has capability of being a very competitive quarterback in this league.
Did you ever consider?
I'm gonna cut him off real quick. Nothing he said tells me that he thinks Desmond Ritter's good. Everything was intangible.
Everything's intangible, and you're basing it off of what he did in college, as if guys in college that do the stuff that he did all the time don't fucking suck as pros or something. Like that doesn't always come about. And I think my biggest issue with them rolling with Ritter is not that, like I said, I don't want him to fail. Like for real, I want him to prove me wrong. Like I really do. And matter of fact, he got a lot of fucking people he needs to prove wrong. So I hope that this fuels him. Because if he is going to be our starting quarterback and he is going to be healthy and play, I hope that he proves us wrong. I really do. But
I hope he wants us to want to buy a jersey next year with his name on the back of it.
But this is the reality of it. I've seen enough of his work. I felt like in general going into camp that it was a quarterback battle. I don't remember them saying Marcus Mariota is QB1. Like how they're announcing it now after we let go of Matt and we signed Mariota like the same day. I don't remember them saying this is QB1.
Like the way that
I never heard Arthur Smith say that. I never heard Terry Fontenot say it. I never heard Arthur Blank go on tour talking about it. I never heard that. I remember being in Vegas actually for the first preseason game, and they played the Lions, and Mariota actually had a really good drive that first drive. And then Ritter came out. Ritter had a solid showing. I mean, I was like, okay, we got a little battle here. And I know it's not fair to bring up the Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn.
Yes, it is.
But it is because Russ, like Ritter, was a third-round pick, accomplished in college. They had just signed Flynn the way that we signed Mariota. Obviously, I think at the time it was kind of bigger money because did Flynn get like $15 million a year?
Yeah, he got some decent money because he had that big game for the Packers, like their last game.
6 touchdowns, almost 400 yards. They won, and they might have played like New England or some shit, like a team that was good. But nonetheless, I guess me saying that is that Pete Carroll had the wherewithal to say, "Oh no, Russell Wilson's a starting quarterback week 1," because he saw it in practice. So to me, if Ritter wasn't good enough to beat out the Mariota that we saw, that just tells me that I don't want to hear that he ain't ready shit, because you're gonna know if your quarterback has it or not. You're gonna know whether or not they can play in the league. And it took them long enough to trot him out there. And not only did we have this small sample size, but like on top of it being a small sample size,
wasn't good.
It wasn't good. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. And he played against 4 backup quarterbacks. And people say, well, he plays offense. That what does that have to do? J.J. Watt was on the defense of the Cardinals. Buda Baker was still playing. And it's like, look, those guys had already hung it up. Cliff knew that he was on the outs. Like, bro. And then who did they start at quarterback? It wasn't Scott Tolzien, but it was somebody.
It wasn't Colt McCoy either, was it?
No, it wasn't Colt. That's what I'm saying. So he played a third string. He played Tyler Huntley, who's a backup. I know he's a Pro Bowler, but he's a backup. He played the third string for the Bucks.
Because Tom Brady,
Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask got run in that game.
Tom Brady was out of the game by the time we got there.
And we were still up. I mean, the Bucks were still up too at halftime of that game. So nah, man. No, I'm not fucking sold. He played Andy Dalton in New Orleans. That's a backup. Andy Dalton's a backup, man. And so I don't like the idea of them handing the keys to him. And like I said, for their sake, I hope that they're right, because if not, how is Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot not on the chopping block if this doesn't go right. Like, because not only do you have this opportunity,
You're fired.
not only do you have this opportunity draft, you could have moved up in the draft maybe, or who knows? We don't know who's going to fall to 8. Well, I guess we'll wait until the draft. But let's say that, I mean, Stroud's not falling and neither is Young. But who knows? Maybe let's say that they really like Anthony Richardson. I don't know. Let's just say that he falls or something. And they don't take him, and then the person turns out to be good. Or they don't take like Hendon Hooker in like the 3rd round. Some people think Hendon Hooker is going to go early 2nd. Even with the injury. That a team like Seattle could take him early in the 2nd. And then, you know,
let him rehab all next year.
Get healthy. And then if Geno don't do what Geno just did, maybe it's his job. I don't know. Like if we don't make one of those, I'm even okay with like 4th round, 5th round, if he's there, if we take Stetson Bennett. I don't know. Why not? Like, I guess is my thing.
I think Stetson's going to Baltimore.
How early?
4th or 5th. I think 4th. Because if they don't get Lamar, I think Stetson's going to go in there. He's gonna know that offense. And Baltimore is one of those teams like the Patriots that I talked about in my Instagram vid this week. And we'll get to it, that it's system over it's system and plays over players.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Stetson knows the system better than any quarterback we bring in. He's going to execute at a high level. He's mobile enough. And he just showed us a year of tape relying on tight ends and not wide receivers. And he was pretty fucking successful. So that's just something I've been thinking about. But back to the Desmond Ridder thing. And you talked about the Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn thing. You know, when Russell Wilson got drafted, a 3rd round quarterback had much more value than a 3rd round quarterback does today. Because then the quarterback position was not overvalued. It's like, hey, he's a 3rd round talent. We're going to draft him in the 3rd round. Now, quarterback talent he's a 3rd round talent, but he's the 2nd best quarterback in the draft. So we got to draft him in the 1st round because the quarterback position is so much more valued. Like, most evaluators had a 2nd, 3rd round grade on Baker Mayfield. He did not have a 1st round grade by most talent evaluators. Too small, you know? And some of the things that Baker is described as, some of Baker's traits are the same traits I hear for Des Ridder. Like, I've yet to hear someone describe Desmond Ridder, his physical abilities as an attribute. I'm only hearing the Dak Prescott stuff. So, like, he's Dak Prescott seltzer. I'm not going to call him Dak Prescott light, right? He's Dak Prescott White Claw.
Right.
Number 4, mixed guy, can run a little bit, but I mean, he's mobile, can run a little bit, but he's not like fast.
Is he mixed?
Yeah, I hope so. He's not white.
He does. I mean, what the fuck? I don't know what he is. That's why.
He should be bald. He doesn't throw a great ball. It's all intangible. I'm not saying that we can't win with that, but bro, here's what it comes down with this Desmond Ridder thing. I'm gonna play the next clip. We are season ticket holders. We do not want to come to the fucking arena every other week to see Desmond Ridder. It's not even winning and losing.
Yeah, okay. His dad is black and his mom's white. So yeah, he's mixed.
Like,
He's a mulatto, right?
I think that's a derogatory term. That's why.
Really? Is that why Lotto changed their name to Lotto?
Yeah. Yeah, for like no bullshit. Yeah, I know you can't say anything in the society, but
I wonder if his is considered derogatory if I'm not African.
Say again.
I say I wonder if African American can be considered a derogatory term if I'm not African.
Probably. You want to hear some more Arthur Blank, the guy who's stealing money from us?
Of it, yeah.
Getting into the free agent quarterback market or a trade market?
Well, I think, you know, when we look at free agency, and this is the first year, this is in terms of my ownership, 21 years, and we had double the amount of salary cap available going into free agency this year than we've ever had. So, you know, that's a luxury we always haven't had, and we had it this year. And I think it's up to Coach Smith and Terry Fontenot and Rich and collectively to examine where the investment of that money should go in terms of how do we produce the best roster we can and put the best.
You heard that last name, didn't you?
And Rich.
So if it's Coach Smith, that means, okay, Coach Smith got some juice. And Terry, okay, we throw him in the middle. And Rich, let you know Rich matters. Terry got his balls clipped the day after he got the job.
It's too many cooks in the kitchen. I just and we know that at the end of the day, Arthur can be a bar back to these guys, right? And I say that in a sense of Arthur can make drinks, but his primary job isn't to make the drink. It's to serve it. It's to make sure everybody that's his primary task, right?
Arthur's the waiter. Arthur Smith, he's the waiter.
Yeah, he executes. He takes the order. He brings it out. He does his job. He does what he's supposed to do, but he can be a part of that to a degree.
Exactly.
But whether that's him going to the back and telling the hibachi chef, hey, he doesn't want the 5 big pieces of shrimp that go with the hibachi rice. He wants the shrimp fried rice, but the hibachi being the rice. I need you to hook that up.
And I want to charge him. I want to charge him for this though. I'm trying to save the money.
All right, and so he's got that power, but when you start adding in, okay, this guy is the guy that he picks the groceries, but this guy, he also is kind of telling him, nah, we're not going to go with that brand. We're going to go with that brand. Then you start saying, well, who's cooking this fucking meal? Who's really who's making this?
Parlay Pete, let's think about this, right? One of the things
he wants an old fashioned, and he's just like, all right, so we're going to use our house. We're going to use Makers or Bullet. And then he's like, no, use the Suntory. And it's just like, motherfucker, I'm the one making the drink. Why are you telling me what to do? I get that you back here with me, but you just own the restaurant. You don't. You don't own the restaurant. You're the manager. And this is what's on the menu. This is how the drink is supposed to be made. Why are you telling me to use something else?
Well, it tastes better with the blood orange. That's not
what he ordered.
You have to request the blood orange to get the blood orange.
And more importantly, he's like, nah, pour a little less in that shot. And it's just like, I'm the bartender. I know what to do to the drink. Like, I'm a mixologist or whatever. Like, I specifically do this.
And then Arthur brings it out. It's like, hey, this is terrible. I didn't want this. I know. I didn't make it.
I didn't make it. He told me to do it this way. He's like, you know what? You're fired for listening to him.
I took your order. I took it to where it went, where it's supposed to go. I talked to you. I brought it back to you in like a great time. Like, I served you well. I just served you shit because I was given shit. And hold on. You also got Rich saying, well, back before you got here, here's how we did it. Because you still got to throw in TD's salary cap.
Right.
But you know what? And that's the real problem. Because, also Ryan Pace is in the room. You got to remember Ryan Pace is in the room. The guy who drafted Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. It's that hurts. It really hurt hearing Arthur say that. This is my first time listening to that, because even think about these guys, right? Rich McKay is from that from the Tampa tree, right? The Tampa tree from the
and his dad was the owner of the Bucs
from the Tony Dungy days, right?
Yeah. And the McKays own the Bucs.
Then you got Terry. Terry's from the Saints tree, the Mickey Loomis, the Sean Payton tree. Then you got Arthur Smith, who's a mutt because he was under multiple regimes in Tennessee. I'm
sorry, his dad was the coach of the Bucs back in the day, not the owner. Coach.
Yeah.
I was trying to correct myself. I was like, nah, he didn't own it.
No, you're good. But like Arthur Smith, he's from multiple regimes. He's also a son of a billionaire from FedEx. But that has nothing to do with him as a coach because everything he's shown me, he's a grinder, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's been with the Titans since 2011. He was with the Titans from 2011 through 2020, so multiple head coaching iterations, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a traditional tree, right?
Right.
So when you mix three decision makers from three different trees, there's no way to be on the same page because they're not building the team the same way. Like the reason why, the Patriots get a lot of shit for not bringing in different minds.
Mm-hmm.
But the Patriots also build their team a certain way and they're all on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
So we're either going to think together or we're going to sell together. But the scouts know what Bill wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bill the GM knows what Bill the coach wants. Bill the coach knows what type of coordinator Bill the coach wants. You know what I mean? So like it's all these things to make sure that there's uniformity and consistency in the way that they build their team, they built their personnel, they built
Identity.
their identity. So even if the identity is bad, there's cohesiveness. Right now, we got too many people from different NFL trees with different ideologies trying to build a team. It's like putting Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi in the room and saying, "Hey, y'all two run this presidential campaign successfully," which they will because they'll just go to Wall Street and Silicon Valley and they'll just give them the tax cuts they need for the codes to get paid. But if we actually want them to run an ideological campaign together, it's no way that shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, and the scary part is this. At one point, obviously post Mike Vick, started the Matt Ryan era, the Falcons to me did have an identity. As an organization, we had an identity. I thought we were one of the top organizations in general. Obviously, Arthur Blank, maybe too much, likes taking care of his players. He will take care of you.
You learned that from Jarrah.
Yeah, he takes care of his players, especially his stars. They don't let them walk. They as we found out later on, they overpay them when they probably aren't worth it at that point, as opposed to just cutting bait and moving on and making the right business decision. But we at least did have that. We had an identity. We had an identity from a culture standpoint in the front office. And I think even on the field, our style of play, granted, maybe not our favorite, but we were a finesse, high-flying offensive team. We weren't a punch you in the gut, run it down your throat, our defense is nasty type team. We were a finesse team, and it worked. Like, it worked to a degree. We were a good team, but we even had that culture and that identity. But I knew what Falcons football was.
In the Mike Smith days, we would run it down your throat. And then as
the early part.
But then as Matt Ryan got better, but as Matt Ryan developed, we said no. And what I liked about that was, let me see. When was Pioli there? Oh, this was later. This was before Pioli.
He came after
Pioli came in 2014.
Yeah, that's what I said. He came basically when Mike Smith's fucking carcass was hanging on 75, 85 from the 17th Street Bridge. That's when they brought Pioli in.
Who was the GM before TD?
Rich McKay.
Okay. So we went from what Rich McKay was doing, which worked in that NFL.
Rich came over in 2003.
And when we transitioned from Rich to TD, we tried to become Patriot South.
Yes, corporate quarterback.
Corporate quarterback.
Good guy, gonna say the right things. He'll never get in trouble.
We brought TD in. We brought in PO. Like these guys work together.
We Michael Turner being, kind of the big running backs. I had a great year. Then the next year we say, all right, now this is what we're going to do. We're going to sign Asante Samuel. We're going to trade for Tony Gonzalez, a professional, best tight end in the game. We're giving Matt a target. Roddy developed, Roddy was solid before, but he didn't have nobody. But with Matt, obviously, Roddy looked he was an all-pro receiver at one point. We drafted Sam Baker. There were guys in we kind of had an offensive line a little. Then we traded for John Abraham the following year, one of the best defensive ends in the NFL. He's a double-digit sack guy for the Jets. We gave them like it was the year we went 13, year 3, when we went 13-3, because it was we gave the Jets that was all we gave up, was we were like the 30th pick or something. And yeah, and it was worth it because Abraham was a guy. He was first real sack artist we had since Pat Kearney, on the DN at least. I'm still mad about that. As a kid, I used to love Pat Kearney.
Same.
He's just always like white guy. When he went to Seattle, he was good in Seattle too. But we had that identity.
We had an identity. We were bringing in the young guys from the programs that we respected, and we were letting them bring their guys in. There's no way in hell that
good guys though too, like Asante Samuel.
I'm talking
probably
about
29.
I'm talking about personnel guys. I'm talking about the guys in the building.
Oh.
But there's no way
Coaching
in hell.
too,
Huh?
Coaching too, though.
Well, yes,
because
there's no way.
We were running through fucking offensive coordinators like a baby runs through diapers.
Well,
they kept getting hired. Malarkey got a job after Matt. Cutter ended up obviously getting a job. Like, these guys are getting jobs.
Kyle got a job.
Everybody that worked with Matt Ryan ended up getting a fucking job. I mean, Mike Smith still got a second chance to coach.
And let's talk about Kyle getting that job real quick. This was Kyle's first job. Like, everybody gives Kyle credit, and don't get me wrong, Kyle deserved a job. He deserved the job he got. And I'm sure Kyle had opportunities to get other jobs, but Kyle wanted the right job.
Nobody saw him as a head coach until his work with us.
But exactly. But
he's a solid offensive coordinator with the Browns for the 1 year. Obviously, the Redskins and even Houston was really good. I mean, like, but
everybody wants to give Kyle Shanahan all this credit for being this great OC, great play caller, and he is. He's amazing. But you got to give Matt Ryan some credit because Kyle's not the only guy he got paid. And I try to, I'm not as high on Matt Ryan as you are. I'm not like the rest of the black Atlanta Falcons fans who don't understand football. But Matt Ryan got a lot of people paid, and that matters because and we've talked about this on this podcast with Kyle Shanahan. Like, I'm not saying Kyle Shanahan's an overrated head coach, but when he'll have a great roster, and then when Jimmy Garoppolo's not there. But look, man, we haven't talked. Let me see if I can get some more. Where are we at? We're at 57. So
there's always a lot of juice when we get into Falcons. When we get into ball about them, I mean, we could have a whole show talking Falcons.
But I want to keep going with this Falcons piece because I want to get to the quote that mattered.
Group of young men on the field. And so I think they explored all opportunities in terms of, obviously in terms of backup quarterbacks and a number of other players. And I think we've improved our team this year a good bit through free agency. And I'm excited about the draft coming up. We have eight remaining picks in the draft. And so
we should be able to pick up 2 more picks if we trade back at 8.
You talked about the job that Arthur
Smith
has done for 2 years. I mean, you guys had to go through some salary cap pain, but the draft picks that they were able to utilize to be competitive.
Okay, I don't think this is getting to what we want to. I'm trying to find his Lamar Jackson quote because Arthur is out on Lamar Jackson in the media. I don't know how true it actually is, but the quote itself was kind of nasty.
Here are your trade back opportunities. 16 with Washington, possibly 22 with Baltimore.
I just saw on Pat. They talked about this on McAfee. I didn't watch the video because I just saw it. But apparently the Ravens tried to sign Baker Mayfield.
I did. I saw that rumor. That's saw disgusting. That.
So listen, here's the Arthur Blank quote.
Go ahead. Go play it.
Looking at objectively, I say there's some concerns.
You had the audio.
Oh no, I gotta read
I
it.
mean, go ahead and read it, but yeah.
Looking at it objectively, I'd say there's some concern over how long he can play his style of game. Blank explained to reporters. Hopefully a long time, but he's missed 5-6 games each of the last 2 years. Each game counts a lot in our business. Let me say something real quick, Arthur Blank. You were willing to sign Deshaun Watson and trade more to get Deshaun Watson in your building. Then you're gonna have to trade for Lamar. And he was looking like he was gonna miss a season. He ended up missing like 12 games, right? And the way he played, you lost your quarterback for a whole fucking season, if we're being honest.
That's called timeout.
What's up?
Motherfucker, wasn't Michael Vick your quarterback? Did he not do the same shit? Did he not miss damn near a whole fucking season too, doing the same shit? He just don't have an MVP or anything to show for his time here, aside from a couple of clips and some sold out dome. You know what I mean? And us being on ESPN. But is it not the same thing? So I'm just I want to formulate it because Michael Vick got hurt doing the same shit and missed almost an entire season because of that. Like,
why is Arthur Blank?
And then people wanted to blame it on a Madden curse or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are make it make sense.
Why is Arthur talking like he's Jerry Jones? Like he's the Rooney family, like he's Kraft.
Because he looks like a villain in a fucking Bruce Wayne movie. Okay,
he's talking like we are a Super Bowl or bust franchise. We're not. We're a franchise that struggles to sell tickets. We have one of the best cities in the NFL. We have one of the best arenas in the NFL. We have one of the best game day. We have a great game day environment that aligns with the people who are in our city. Like it is very much a black socialite environment at the Atlanta Falcons games.
We live, even if our fan base isn't great, we live in a football country, bro. Georgia don't have no problem getting that shit sold out and it being nothing but red and black. Why do we struggle to do it? Some of the best football players in the NFL, they from here. This is a football-rich area. People care about the shit here.
Georgia has I think Georgia has the second or third most 5-star high school athletes in the entire country right now.
Like I said, we all know who the big four are. California, Texas, Florida, Georgia. And you could throw Louisiana maybe in there.
You got some Louisiana, you got some Ohio, but the big four.
But we're the big four. Yeah, you know, there's some superstars that be coming out of Louisiana. But in terms of totality, like we have 3 stars that are guys, like in the league, that were 3 stars in high school that are like dudes. Like Preston Smith went to elementary, middle school, and high school with him. One of the best defenders on the Green Bay Packers. And he was a 3-star coming out of high school, going to Mississippi State.
Nick Chubb.
Like, Chubb was like a 4. But regardless, he wasn't the top running back in the state, like type shit.
He wasn't the top running back on his team leaving Georgia. The Pats drafted Sony Michel
first. Yeah.
But
still, I thought Chubb was better than Michelle, even then. But you know, Gurley was different. But Gurley was also injury prone, which we knew that. Like, but Gurley was different. Like, but Gurley went down and Chubb took over that year. I was like, oh shit! I was like, that's the one. Like, Sony used to get hurt a lot too, low key.
Let me tell you an interesting story though about the difference between UGA on Saturday and the Falcons on Sunday. Because a lot of what Michael Vick was turns off a lot of the UGA fan base. You know, it's different fan bases. And I went and got a massage last week. And I had a male massage therapist. He was doing some work on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to talking sports. He's a Bulldog fan. He's a Falcons fan. And he's like, I just don't know if we should pay Lamar all that guaranteed money. So I'm like, it ain't coming out of our pockets. Give a fuck. And the way these contracts are created, if he's on the roster, that's going to be a guarantee. And the way it's going to be, if we get a decent capologist in there, which TD did not have, the contract is going to be placed in a way that it's not all going to be against the salary cap. He's going to renegotiate every other year to turn a lot of stuff into bonuses. But yes, who cares if we give him 50 million guaranteed? You know how many jerseys Lamar Jackson is going to sell? Like, I will get a Lamar Jackson Falcons jersey.
Yeah.
You know how deep out, because we both have tickets on the visitor side.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much black and red will be in our sections? Because what people forget was when the Falcons had Michael Vick, all the games sold out within every game sold out within 2 hours of tickets going on sale. And this is when Ticketmaster didn't have a website. This is you calling Ticketmaster on the phone and you're ordering your tickets. We bring Lamar back. Like, the Falcons fans will show up if you give them something to watch, and Lamar is something that the Falcons will watch. Falcons fans will watch. And I don't understand why Arthur is forgetting about how he got his biscuits buttered in Atlanta as a football owner. Niggas should have brought in Cam Newton last year to back up Marcus. He would have sold jerseys.
Or just bought in Cam in general instead of Marcus.
He would have sold jerseys and tickets. But I think, it goes to people not. You know how sometimes we'll listen to people outside of our communities talk about how to make like Black America better, or how they should or how we could better interact, and well, hey, you should feel this way. And it's like, no, bro, this is how we feel when you do this. I think it's the same pulse that is on the Atlanta sports market, right? Because Atlanta's one of those weird cities where there's a lot of black people with a lot of money. Unlike a lot of your other major cities, it just doesn't work. It's not as many rich niggas. There's the percentage of rich niggas isn't there, right? Like, sure, you have them, but not per capita. And there's a lot of street money in Atlanta that will buy season tickets. Oh shit, boy! Hell yeah, we're gonna pull up on Lamar. A lot of rappers in Atlanta. Hell yeah, we're gonna pull up on Lamar. Hey, we're gonna book Lamar for this. Video this. Oh yeah, I'm gonna perform at the game for free on this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much culture that Atlanta has that if you get that type of quarterback that the city can rally around, tickets gonna sell themselves. The jersey gonna sell themselves.
Well, certainly if that's what it's about for him, which, like Joy Taylor said, apparently that is what it's about. It ain't about winning football games here. So it's like
it's not about either. We're not trying to sell tickets or win games.
And because of that league share shit. But like, it's just one of those things where, like I said, we get 5 straight years of missing a postseason. You're about to go on 6. Previously, the last time that we had that long of a drought was between 1982 and 1991. So before I was born. And it just is so sad to look at, because it's one of those things where I can't believe that we got in this position. Like, I see how it happened from the Matt Ryan era, like how that happened. You held on to TD too long. He probably should have. Him and DQ probably should have been fired the year before. I mean, the Eagles didn't hesitate to fucking fire Doug Peterson, and he had won the Super Bowl 2 years prior. So like, I don't want to hear, well, we went to the playoffs, we went to Super Bowl. No, man, they probably should have been. Everybody probably, the reset should have happened because I guess 2020 is when it kind of happened, but like 2019 is probably when it should have happened.
When we re-signed Matt Ryan and Julio was gimpy again. Matt wasn't great, and we didn't have money to bring in more talent. And we were stuck with that money for 2 to 3 more years. That's when we should have cleared house. And we should have moved off of Matt Ryan after we should have moved out to Matt Ryan the season before we did, because remember, he had a pretty good season. The team was just terrible, but his numbers were pretty good. And you could have sold him to a team like the Colts a year earlier.
Yeah, because he would have been much better with them than Phillip Rivers then. You know,
You could-
plus that Colts team, you could argue maybe was a little bit better too than even the one that he just joined.
And
That
you
just
could-
completely fell apart this year. But like,
you could have sold him then and probably got them to take more of the cap off of you. You know what I mean?
I think you could have. I'm looking at his numbers now. The 20 you're talking about. So the 2018 year was the year after the playoffs.
Okay.
That was the year he put up basically the MVP numbers again.
Yeah, and we got beat by Philly.
Right, and that's year 2 of Sark. They fired Sark. They brought back Cutter.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, the next year we went 7-9 again. Matt was still solid, 4,400 yards, 26 TDs, 14 picks. Not nearly those numbers. And then even in 2020, this is the Todd Gurley year, you know, the year that DQ gets fired. Matt, 4,500, 26 TDs, 11 picks. He still had value in 2020, I think. More value than getting rid of him in Arthur Smith's system where we won 4 games. No, we won 7 games. I'm tripping. We didn't win 4 games. We won 4 games the year before. But
I think you move off of him. I think you move off of him in that.
I don't think they were going to move off of him in 18. But here's the thing. If you weren't going to move off of him after 18, then you definitely should have moved off of Quinn and Dimitrov.
Yeah.
You should have already reset for him to set that team up. Now, I remember this so vividly. That 2019 season opener, me and Justice went. It was in Minnesota, and all the talks the night before was Julio going to play? Because if you remember, he kind of was standing off because he didn't get his contract. It was like the first time he diva'd it, and then it was reported that Julio signed a 3-year, $66 million contract.
It was like 62 at signing.
Yeah. Like it was like in a weird way, he got a very much so front-loaded, almost completely guaranteed contract. And it made him far and away at the time at 22 per year annually. Like I think the next highest was 17. Like he was far and away. He will reset the fuck out of that market because
that hamstring was tender. He limped up to sign that contract with it.
That was before 2020. So think about it. And that's like what did what's his face get in Jacksonville? He just got like 20 that same he just got like 20 million, 21 million. And that wasn't even Julio money from 3 years ago.
Christian Kirk.
Yeah. And we thought that was ridiculous because a guy like that was getting that. And now, of course, guys like Tyreek Hill are getting 30. But like, I don't know. They've set it up to where I pray for Desmond Ridder, man, because if he doesn't do it, it's going to be fucking hell, bro. Not just for him, but for the staff, bro, fan base. I'm not going to not be a fan, but now it gets into that territory of where I know how like some Jets fans feel. Like, you know what I mean? Like I know, right? And it's so
no,
sad.
bro, we might turn into the Kings. Sacramento Kings.
God, but that's in Sacramento. It's like you're in Atlanta. Like, bro, like why? Like why is our stadium being more known for hosting events than it is for Falcons games? Like, well, that's a problem. It's not the home of the Falcons. It's the home of sports' best.
Nah, bro, it's a home to Kanye's album release party or listening parties.
Yeah, it's that. It's he lived there. I know, right? It was Kanye's apartment for a little bit.
Yeah,
bro. Or loft or condo or house, whatever you want to give him.
Hey, question: How did it feel to live that close to Kanye?
It was cool.
I mean, he was low-key your neighbor.
And this is what I'll say for a little bit, right? But like, what was cooler was going out when he didn't have the tour. Like we would go over to the Hard Rock. Like I said, we met Jay Electronica. You know, we saw
You know,
what's
you
up
never
to him.
take.
He came over, what's up, and everything. Like touches. He's like, how y'all brothers doing? Then when he came back out, we're just drinking. This nigga, he comes back over. He's like, y'all stay blessed, man. Like, so we talked to him, GLC and Consequence. Like, you know, Kanye's like kind of his like day, I guess, kind of day one-ish. Like a lot of the guys he worked with early in his career.
You know, you never take me to the Hard Rock.
Let's go. We were gonna. I know one night we were. Here's the issue with there. They be shutting shit down. Like Atlanta shuts down early. That rooftop.
COVID and crime killed it, man.
Yeah, they shut it down. They be shutting shit down early. Like, because even if I'm getting drinks at the hotel, it's like, gosh, can we get some tapas or something like some apps?
Like, also, our problem is we don't get moving until like 12:30. So too many.
They're shut down at midnight.
Like we get moving so late.
But that's why it's always easy to go to Parlor and be on Peter Street because Peter Street doesn't shut down until 3.
I'll never complain about going to Parlor.
Yeah, you know, it's a cocktail den, speakeasy. You know,
and I'm already drunk. And I'm already drunk by the time I get there. So like, anyways, Lamar. Let's talk a little bit, Lamar. Hold on. Here. Let me do this real quick. So that concludes the first hour. AC Lee and Parlay Pete. We opened it up a little bit differently because we wanted to give women some time. We also want to have a serious, honest conversation about women, and we wanted to give it from a male perspective. We wanted women to know how men think about their plight and how we feel about their plight. So if you don't like it, let us know. Tell us we're wrong. If you agree, tell us we're right. Because the point is we're having these conversations because we want to create a better life, a better situation. And I brought it up because it bothers me. It worries me. It gives me anxiety that all these women that I know and love and care about have anxiety. And I don't want them to feel that way in this world. And if there's something I can do, we can do to make this world better for them, we want to do it. But then, you know, a little football, a lot of Falcons first. And to be honest with you, as we close out this first hour, we're probably not done talking about the Falcons because we're going to start into the Lamar conversation. But talk a little Calais Campbell too, little 49ers, little Bill Belichick, little Meek Millie. But that's hour one. Get into hour two.